Ladies and gentlemen, Midnight Launch Podcast coming to you. This is episode 6. It is a couple of guys here around midnight talking about video games as we always do. I am Michael, joined by Jack.
Hey.
Robert.
Hello.
Jesse.
Hey.
And special guest, Jack's friend, Roberto.
Hello.
Gotta speak up there, amigo.
Hola.
Hello, sir. So, it is episode 6, gentlemen. We've been doing this for a while now, so let's get on to the newest topic that we started off with the past few weeks. What have you been playing this week? And since, Roberto, you are our guest, what have you been playing this week, my friend?
Actually, this week I've played a lot of Pokemon Red. Jack, I haven't told you this yet. My level 163 Squirtle, it evolved. It went 63 levels over 100 and then evolved into a War Turtle and then Blastoise. So I now have a level 209 Blastoise.
You are a god among men.
Yeah. But yeah, oh, and some Black Ops.
Nice.
And
Which
Brawl.
one? Original or 2?
2.
Sweet.
And then some Brawl last night.
Yeah.
It was due time.
I actually played some Black Ops 2 last night with some of my friends. We were all at different schools.
Mm-hmm.
And we just played a bunch of those the arcade games like Sticks and Stones.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
I love
Those are
that.
just so
Sticks
fun.
and Stones. It's good
Yeah.
shit.
They're so competitive on the PC version too. It's ridiculous.
Oh man.
Wow.
Look at that.
I wouldn't expect it to be that competitive. I mean, considering just how much flack that game gets.
It gets a lot of flack, but those who play it on PC just, oh my god, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I would bet, dude.
But I would just like to put in my 2 cents for Call of Duty 2, like the original Call of Duty 2, when there was no filtering on who could say what and at what time. And if you threw enough smoke grenades, it would just lag.
Oh my
ridiculous amount. Remember the trench
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love being
Trench
able to
map where
change.
everybody had a shotgun.
Yep.
I like being able to change teams at any
Oh
time.
yeah. We really
Oh
fucked them
my
dudes up.
god.
The least
Man.
competitive, most competitive game on Xbox.
Good times, man. Good times.
Oh man, that sounds good.
We gotta bring that back.
Holy crap. So, hey Jesse,
Yes.
you been playing Kerbal, I'm guessing?
Oh, yes. Version
else?
0.19 has come out today. So I've been trying to get my hands on that, but the servers were backed up. So I had to sit back and wait until they got back up, and then I could download it. But yes, I have been playing that until we've been starting this podcast. So
Is there a big change?
they've added some new parts and some burning effects, so that when you start entering orbit, you actually start you can possibly lose parts of your ship, and it starts burning up and catching fire and stuff.
That's pretty sick.
At least that's what I'm. Yeah, I know. That's actually kind of cool. And they added official rover parts now, so you can actually build a rover out of actual rover parts instead of airplane parts, which is kind of nice. And yeah, and they also, the biggest change for me was they replaced the launch pad, so it's a lot easier to launch now, essentially. But
Wonderful.
yeah, I know. It's just a small little update set that they did that makes the game much easier to play. So that's pretty much about it for me, though. I was playing that. Yeah, that's it.
That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
exciting.
Yeah.
I've been looking to get into Kerbal, but the price point has discouraged me this far.
$23.
$23.
Dude, you can buy a lot with $23.
It's true.
Alright, so
Trust
honest,
me.
yeah.
23 bag, 99-cent bag chips.
True.
Ah, damn it,
You can buy
23.
two copies.
God damn it.
You can buy 2 copies of the game that I've been playing this week. Well, when it's at the reduced price, of course. And this is just me going into my topic. I've been playing a game called Blood Bowl, which has been rising in popularity because of YouTube again. And I talked about it a little earlier. So, but what it is, it's basically if rugby and football decided to have a baby that was a turn-based strategy game.
Oh my god.
I would actually say this. It's just flat out rugby meets UFC.
Oh my
That-
god.
But
Give it to
turn-based.
me.
That's the
Turn-based,
important
yes.
thing. It's
Yes,
turn-based.
turn-based version of that.
It's also highly reliant on strategy, but the thing is, all that can go to shit because it's based on a tabletop game. And tabletop games that are American designed
40K,
typically
40K,
involve
40K, 40K.
it's in the Warhammer universe, yeah.
Yeah.
For the Emperor and all that sort of stuff.
Exactly.
Largely, it relies a lot on dice rolls,
Oh god.
which,
Yes.
as a result, can cause so much random shit to happen. Like, to the point where your character can run and just trip and break his neck just from
Hey,
running.
it happens, man.
Is this like DayZ where you like walk
No.
outside and suddenly you're in a coma?
No.
Wait, question. Is there rugby socials in this game?
Say again?
Like ice cream socials?
No. Rugby socials are rugby parties, like absolute huge shit shows.
Oh.
And a lot of injuries actually come from that as opposed to actually playing rugby. Just drunken kind of.
I guess not.
Turn-based
But,
juggling. Come on.
I feel like the tabletop crowd doesn't get into a lot of rugby parties, sadly.
I feel like
No.
that's something for the
No.
sequel, man. Like,
Actually, they announced it recently, Blood Bowl 2.
oh,
But I think it's just going to be derived again from the tabletop. And,
They should just take the 40K universe because I know they're using the fantasy universe, but still.
I mean, it's based on Warhammer because there's Skaven and there's Nurgle and Khorne and all that sort of stuff. I don't know.
Well, Nurgle and Khorne are just Chaos. Chaos was actually the only one that. Well, no, that's complete bullshit. But I would say that Chaos, Orcs, and I'm thinking of one others, but I know there's more than two actually transferred into the 40K universe. I know that Nurgle, Khorne, those are just the gods of Chaos, and then you have Chaos demons and all that stuff.
Well,
Then you have
humans,
your
obviously.
orcs.
The race of man, I guess, is what it's called. Right?
No, that I don't know much about the Warhammer universe, but the 40K universe, they're just either
Oh yeah,
Imperial
there are
guards.
humans there. No,
Oh.
there aren't any elf-based creatures in 40K. Yeah.
They're dark elves, then there's
Yeah, there's
space
dark elves and stuff like that.
Yeah,
It-
yeah. So
it's-
those transferred.
All the
over then,
races
I
are
guess.
from the Warhammer universe in general. But
Space Marines are in there.
no Space
Yeah,
Marines.
there you go.
Rugby with
I
space.
guess you
I
say,
don't-
Oh my
I guess
God,
you could
let's
say
make that game.
humans, but yeah, Space Marine football. Oh
what if we
my
just
god,
make? What if
like
we just
shooting.
make like Gears of War rugby little?
Like a mod.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing.
Oh my gosh, I'm just imagining
Tag her
adding
with the spell.
chainsaws to rugby. having like smoke grenades or like
Oh my God, that'd be glorious.
or like boom shots. Oh my god, that'd be so
I'd play
awesome.
that game so much.
Actually-
I'd be at risk of like doing that on the field.
Exactly. But I've been playing an orc team, and we have really good armor, really good strength, so we tend to hit people and knock people over and knock them out and break their limbs.
Yeah.
So
That sounds friendly.
Actually, yeah, it's really friendly. Actually, I have my statistics up. Let's see. I've knocked out 17 people. I've tackled 13 people, and I've injured 4 people.
Have you killed anyone? That's the main
I-
question here.
yeah.
Let's be honest.
I caused 2 deaths, but then they re-rolled them with an apothecary.
What does that mean? How do you re-roll a death? What is this?
Apothecary
game
is
has-
a medic.
The game has this really interesting thing where you can re-roll. You can do what are called re-rolls, which is if you get something you don't like if you get an attacker down, which means your character gets knocked over, you can re-roll that.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe get something like defender down, which is really good because you knock them over, and they really can't do much for next turn. And one of the types of rerolls you can do is a modifier on it where you buy an apothecary, which could do something like if your character dies, you could do a reroll to change it to maybe a broken leg where they only miss a game, or you could change a broken leg to a badly hurt, so that they're just out for the rest of the match.
If only
makes
real
sense.
Back
rugby
next
worked
week.
that way.
I'm gonna re-roll my broken ribs.
Coach, alright.
Yeah, it's
could.
it's kind of meta in a sense.
And I mean,
It
the thing
knows
is
it's
that
a dice game.
the game is ridiculously featured to the point where there's like you can set up full leagues. I actually joined a Reddit newbie league, So hopefully they'll
Huh.
get started soon. And the Relentless
shit.
Boys with a Z,
Rogue
because they're
combo.
orcs.
That
That's
is rolling
cute.
dice, bro.
If you're playing with orcs in a 40k game, you gotta with a Warhammer game, you have to put a Z for S's, because that's just how.
That just
that's
sounds
how
like
orcs
some
work.
kind of urban rugby team.
It's more. It's like we're calling ourselves the cool kids club, all spelled with K's because we're cool like that.
Yeah, the KKK,
Zs.
Cool Kids Club.
Yeah, exactly. Cool kids club.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite jokes. But that's basically all I've been playing this week, and
Nice.
occasionally rage quitting from that. But I have been playing, but I've been watching a lot of StarCraft: Heart of the Swarm. So.
I heard that was good. I heard that had a really deep story. And well,
Oh my gosh, it is so amazing to watch it unfold, because I'm a big StarCraft guy, especially on the competitive scene. There's actually an event in Dallas right now that's going on that's pretty cool, and where I live, actually, there's a yearly Major League Gaming event that happens, so I tend to go to that a lot,
oh, nice.
and I love StarCraft so much. Excuse me. The game seems to be really good, and maybe I'd play it, but it's Zerg, and I don't like playing a Zerg at all, so...
Oh, the new DLC. The
It's
expansion.
It's an expansion. Blizzard's one of the few companies that still does expansions, and I kind of wish companies would go back to that.
Yeah.
Just do big, like $20, $30 expansions instead of, $10 content patches.
I also don't. I
basically.
don't mind modder DLC though. That's always a nice
Yeah.
free content
Without that
with Steamworks.
Yeah.
Oh god.
All right, well, that's what I've been playing this week, so, let me get a coin.
called
I have
again?
a coin. Let's flip this thing.
What's that called again? The
And-
rugby one?
What?
What's it called again? Blood.
Heart of the Swarm.
No,
No, Blood Bowl.
Oh, Blood.
Oh,
Bowl.
Blood Bowl, okay.
Alright.
Sorry.
Chaos Edition.
Anyway,
That's the one I got recently.
you're flipping a coin.
I flipped a piece of plastic and it got heads. So Jack, you're going.
Oh,
What have you been playing
score.
this week?
Good to know this is all fair.
That makes sense.
I've been playing the shit out of the new Tomb Raider for the last couple days. Because my friend pirated it. He's like, dude, it's so fucking cool. You need to play this. So
I
I
think
got
your
it.
friend might have throat cancer.
Is that Rambo?
That's Rambo. That's my
Yeah.
friend Rambo.
Yeah.
But he was playing that, and he convinced me to rent it, so I grabbed it. I'm like, whatever. It's worth $2 a day. Not a big deal. I got it, and I'm like, I'm just fucking murdering everyone with a longbow, and I'm getting stabbed by stuff, and I'm sprawling across mountains, and this is just amazing. And
So, like real life.
yeah, it was pretty much like every day in my own life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sprawling
pretty good day in my
mountaintops, longbows in suburbia.
Yeah.
Same
Yeah.
thing.
West side, man.
Finding the occasional ancient Chinese artifact, the usual.
Finally,
Yeah.
just lying in the middle of the road. I swear, cars almost ran over the damn thing one day.
So, one of the big criticisms I've heard about the game is that some of the stuff seems kind of, to use, what's the phrase, like a $10 word or whatever it is, obfuscated or not in place. Like how, excuse me, like how, you'll occasionally run across, like, sort of the problem that Far Cry 3 had, where you'll run across, ammunition just lying
Oh, yeah.
in
In like
an Asian suit.
1,000-year-old caves, there'll just be boxes of parts just sitting there, and that happens. But it reminds me
So
enough of like the Arkham games that it doesn't bother me that much. Like there's just where there would just be like fucking Riddler trophies in a vent in a boiler room. It's like, did the Riddler climb in here and put this here, or am I supposed to just accept it and move on?
Well, maybe he has like really shitty minions, and the minions are like some of them are retarded, and some of them are really clever, and some of the trophies are hard, and some are easy.
Go hide my trophies. Like, okay.
Wouldn't they all be like crazy, like fucked up? Too?
Yeah, they probably
Almost like
If they're in Arkham,
they'd be like, this is
Yeah.
an event. This is a like layer. I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Like that's what I would think. I don't know about Tomb Raider though. Like I have no explanation.
Tomb Raider, I don't know. Maybe it's like the spirits of the island are thinking, well, somebody's gonna need this someday.
The spirits of the island.
And they just generate 9mm submachine gun bullets that
Yeah.
never
There's
existed.
actually one thing that did bother me was when you kill like the 1,000-year-old samurai enemies near the end of the game, they drop machine gun bullets. So it's like great.
Maybe they're ancient machine gun bullets, and they're just
Maybe.
extra compatible.
Maybe this civilization was way more advanced than we thought.
Oh, speaking of things that piss me off. All right, was that the only one that noticed that when we're playing Far Cry 3, many of the storyline missions are actually held in like caves and shit, even though it's sprawled open world and stuff like that. Like it's big out in the open. The story missions are in caves underground.
Maybe
It's
they're
like,
open
what
caves.
The fuck? Hardly. I don't know. I went in there and I kind of noticed like some of the missions it kind of went against the entire style of gameplay where now you have linear corridors and stuff like that instead of the open sprawling areas that have all the fun stuff.
But how do you know?
Well,
that
at that
mission
point,
wasn't
at
just
that
one
point,
big cave?
you have to ask.
Oh, shit.
At that point, you have to ask the question: what's more important, the combat or the journey?
Shut up.
Oh,
The journey
mind
is.
blown. And there you go. your
I have
journey
an
there.
answer. The
You have throat
journey
cancer
is.
too.
It's an epidemic.
You want throat cancer, my
That's
friend?
contagious.
I'll give you some fucking throat cancer.
Through the internet.
Oh my god, what if that was real? What if you could catch anything through the internet? We'd all die. Immediately.
Well, I mean, through Craigslist you can catch STD, so anything is possible.
Yeah. If you could get
Hey-o.
STDs through internet porn, I'm pretty sure we'd all be dead.
Fact.
Anyway,
Alright, so you've been playing the Tomb Raiders. Anything else?
it
That's
was
about it?
it was Tomb Raider and
Turok.
it was Tomb Raider. That was it.
No Turok?
Well, if it's a good game, you know that'll take up all your life.
Yeah.
And
I still haven't played Halo 4.
Yeah, you did. You played it with me.
Halo 4?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Oh, where you looked at the box. Never
Yo,
mind.
I looked at the box and I talked about how I haven't played it yet. That was like 3 months ago. I still haven't played it.
Hey.
all right, so Robert, you were the last on the list. What have you been playing?
I recently got back into competitive Counter-Strike, so mostly competitive Counter-Strike, a little bit of Euro Truck Simulator 2, a little bit of Arma 3,
Yeah.
Euro
and
In fact, I can hear you playing some Counter Strike right now.
and what else have I been
He's
playing?
not swearing every 5 seconds, so he's not playing Counter Strike.
Yeah.
At least the right way.
What else have I been playing? I've been playing Bioshock 1, replaying that, which is interesting.
Mhm.
Never got through that.
Still incredible.
Despite some other people's
Yeah.
gripes.
I mean, it holds up really well, I think. I still think it's a gorgeous game.
Mhm.
Scary.
But,
yeah, Roberto
some
never
of-
got through it.
Scary. man.
yeah.
Stuff
I
scary.
don't know. It's still incredibly atmospheric to me, and I'm excited to play through the second one as well. So there's that,
Mhm.
and that's pretty much it, yeah.
Ooh. Well, yeah. So, oh gosh, I want to ask you a question about Counter Strike, but I mean, I've played so very little of that game that, you know, all I can really say is which one.
What do you mean? Oh, like
Go.
which game?
1.6, Source, Go.
Well, I played a lot of Counter-Strike Source before, but now I'm mostly into Go because it's got that like competitive factor and competitive matchmaking. So you no longer like server hopping, and people get pissed if you like headshot them from across the map, and then they ban you. It's more just like, oh, you get penalized for leaving, and
They bang you?
Oh man, that sounds excellent. Well, it depends.
but yeah, the new one's really, I don't know. It's a lot different from Source, but
Mhm.
it's a lot of the maps you can like get really fluid movement through them. Some of the game types are more like a lot faster. The game, like the guns are a lot more accurate, but you also have to be a lot more accurate, and there's a lot more recoil. So I don't know. It's a really welcome change, in my opinion. It looks great. There's a lot of new additions, and they added Steamworks for maps, for like user-created maps, and you can also search community games based on that map. So if you find like a really cool like hotel map that you want to play, you just look for it in your Steamworks thing in the game, and it sees if there's any games like that online.
Okay.
Which is really cool.
Well, I guess if Valve is the person who's running the open system, and Valve's also the one who made the game, that would be easy.
Yeah.
I don't think it'd be very easy if any other developer tried to do something like that and run it through Steamworks. So
Well, Skyrim uses Steamworks, and that works really well.
well, that's also those games are infamous for their modability. But
Yeah.
if like oh god, if God forbid Call of Duty allowed you to open up maps and have that sort of game run through, then I doubt it would work as easily through the workshop.
It'd be cool though.
I seriously doubt it.
Yeah.
But that sounds pretty cool. I mean, that sort of like really good shifting and moving through maps. That seems neat and interesting.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's just, I don't know. There's something about it, like, once you start balancing your accuracy with your movement speed and, what gun you're using and stuff like that, it gets this really niche feeling of combat that just flows really well. And, like, the second you die, if you don't get killed from behind, the second how you died, why you died, and what you could have done to avoid it.
That's definitely important in games like that.
Yeah.
All right, so I think we can effectively wrap up what we have been playing this week. I'd like to, very quickly before we get into topics, they announced officially Saints Row 4, and I'm so excited. So, anyone have anything quick they want to say about that before we move on?
I'm excited.
Looks like they're taking this. It looks like they're taking a more serious approach. What they kind of did was, I saw in Saints Row 2, they were taking a more serious. Saints Row 3 was kind of the climatic of, like, the unserious, the most, like, Joker-esque kind of game ever. Then I think they're going to bring it down a little bit in Saints Row 4. They're going to tone it down, make it a little more serious. Not as serious as Saints Row 2, but just a little more serious than Saints Row 3. And I feel like that's going to be the added thing that's going to make this one great. I don't know what happened, but I felt like with Saints Row 3, I was given everything I wanted, so I didn't really enjoy playing it that much. But in Saints Row 4, I'm hoping they change it a little bit.
I think that was one of the big things that a lot of Saints Row fans that really like Saints Row 1 and 2 brought up and sort of admitted they didn't really like about 3 was that it was a little less serious. But, I mean, and they went, balls to the walls with, quite literally balls to the walls and anything else you could imagine. So
I love those.
I think it was actually Cliff Blazinski who said, I think that for the next one they need to cut down with the purple dildos because you don't want to be the game that's known for having the purple dildos, but they are the game that's known for having the purple dildos. So
I mean, I personally would love to be that game, but
you would want to be the game with the purple dildos.
Yeah.
You yourself, as a person, want to be the game known as the purple dildos.
Dildos.
How did I hear buildings?
I mean, purple buildings.
Well,
are
they
nice
do have
too.
purple buildings.
Do they? I don't know.
have you ever seen a purple building? I think I might have seen one in Atlanta at some
I've
point.
seen a purple building. I live in Minneapolis. This is a city of hipsters.
Purple buildings?
True.
Every building is purple when you're a
Little
hipster.
ones.
You get those fancy glasses. Anyways, back on topic.
All right, so we got that out of the way. I would like to start out talking, if we could keep in the realm of purple, about color palettes.
Definitely.
This is something that we sort of brought up in the pre-show, if you would, and somebody said in talking about BioShock Infinite as that is the game that's coming out very soon.
Yes,
that
it is.
has a lot of stuff going for it. That the color palette is something very noticeable. The fact that there's lots of stark contrast. You have beautiful skyboxes, considering that it's in the fucking sky. So you're going to have a good-looking clouds, good-looking skyscapes with how the sun affects it. I just realized they're going to have a completely
It's gonna
different
be
way of how
bright and shiny.
sun up and sundown are going to affect how light affects, because normally when the sun rises, you just worry about the horizon and how it affects that. But now you have the sun rising, so you're going to have like beneath shadows coming up. Oh my god!
Yeah, that'll be really cool.
I just thought about that. Holy shit! That's going to
See,
look crazy.
Here's the thing, though. I almost want to say that the environment in which the game takes place really affects the color palette. Like, we're looking at BioShock Infinite. It's going to be shiny as fuck. That's pretty much it. You're going to be looking at a game. Its color palettes are going to be all high gloss or just high tone, if you will. They're going to be incredibly vibrant colors.
Well, think about the time period. Everything was really, really nationalistic. So you have a lot of whites and a lot of patriotic colors like that. So you're going to see a lot of reds. You're going to see a lot of blues, and it's just a really, really, BioShock was really orangey, really eerie. A lot of red.
Orange.
Yeah, there's a lot of orange on like the windows and the doors and stuff like that.
And the fire.
Because of like the
I always
energy
gotta-
life and all that sort of stuff.
I don't know. I always thought of it as blue, obviously, but I mean...
I mean, there's a lot of orange glows because there's a lot of fire and there's a lot of breakdown as
I
well.
remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Even though
Lots of
played
rust and all that sort of stuff.
half a level.
And yeah, I would definitely say that environment impacts palette, and then with environment, you have what sort of weather could be there, or what sort of where it is. Like I personally I love Borderlands 2. I'm to the point where I've completed it with 5 different characters. I think. So yeah, and there are a lot of different environments, and as a result, they each have their own.
Yeah, their own color palette.
Their own color palette, like the Arctic sections that you see in the beginning. It's a lot of whites, a lot of blues, a lot of grays.
You can see that with
and then as you move on to
with lots of classic games too. Like, I was talking in an earlier video about how I like Crash Bandicoot so much, and it would go from the fire world to the water world to the forest world or something like that, and those would all be completely different color palettes, but in a much
I think
simpler
we're looking
kind
at
of
this
game.
a little wrong. I mean, I think honestly we're looking at this a little wrong. I know, Michael, you're still going, but I just want to say this: we're looking at this kind of wrong, in the sense that we're looking at like basic core elements of the environment and making like obvious. No one. All right, let's phrase it like this: developers aren't going to put a color like a green palette color if it's going to be the fire level. You're not going to have that. So you're obviously going to have color palettes that are similar to the level that's currently being played. The only difference I can see in my mind is based off of three things. One, artistic style, which is entirely based off of, the entire team and what they feel like doing. Two, the setting, as we mentioned before. And three, well, that's going to be entirely based off of how the lighting is or what mood they're trying to set. So honestly, those are the only three variants that I can say change a color palette to a drastic point. To a drastic point. Then I said dramatic. Drastic.
Yeah, if you talk about mood, I mean, I'm known for my staunch defense of the Gears of War series. The first game, in the game series in general, is meant to be a crushing example of this is a race of people who are having to fight back to their hardest, and as a result, it has a very gray, a very murky look, and that is reflected, especially in the first game, where the only other color other than grays and blacks are red, and even that there's a lot of black in there because of armor and bone.
And you could look at Limbo too, or something like that.
I don't know if that even counts. I mean,
as a color palette,
it's got no, it's just monotone. Like, I don't know if that counts.
No,
as a color palette,
monotone
because
is something different. I mean, it doesn't have any actual color. It's just all in black and white.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Monotone would mean
well,
that it was all
I'm
the
still
same
gonna say
shade.
I don't think that counts as. I don't think. All right. Well, I don't think that counts as having a color palette simply because it was the artistic style they were going for. In black and white, that's like saying, well, donuts and bagels, they're the same thing. Like, they're not.
You're
They're
gonna
different.
have to run
They're
that
similar,
analogy by
but-
me again.
Donuts and bagels are not the
Like-
same thing, Shaq.
Exactly, and I'm saying that Limbo's kind of artistic style and color palettes are entirely different things.
Well-
Like, one's a donut, one's a bagel. They're similar, but they're not the same
Well,
thing.
let's look at it without analogies here. You have games that have a lot of color and a lot of vibrancy. Saints Row 3 has a lot of vibrancy, a lot of color. Let's look at games where they try and take that away. Majorly, or in majority, we have Gears of War, and my personal favorite for the post-apocalyptic setting, Metro 2033.
Oh my god, yeah.
So let's look at lack of color and lack of vibrancy for a purpose. Just because it's monotone and it helps because it's an indie game, they're allowed to take those kinds of risks. But the lack of color palette and the lack of vibrancy there is really helpful towards that mood where it's still a color palette because they're still dealing with colors. Black and white are still colors here. Because they chose to exclude those colors the same way Metro, excludes, vast green pastures for those moods in particular.
It's meant to be a dark and dreary, depressing game. Would Fallout work if there was pinks? If raiders had like pink armor?
Oh, absolutely
and
not.
The bullets.
Well, now we're getting just out of contrast. That wouldn't be a rational decision for any developer. Like, any artistic team would immediately say no unless it has a reason to be there. I mean, that's just taking it drastically. Now, let's say if let's say a raider had like a bright, not bright, because if you have anything bright, it's gonna stand out and it's obviously gonna be an eyesore, and it's not gonna fit. But I mean, if you were to say have a green, like chest piece, I'm not saying like the power armor chest pieces, if those are green, but you get the point. If you're gonna have like a green chest piece, that's fine. Like, it could be part of a rummage. It fits in that environment.
Well,
There was some bright
I mean,
green in Fallout because of all the radiation and the plasma rifles.
Yeah.
If you
It
disintegrate
was
some
mostly a
dude in goo,
brown
it's
and
bright
green though.
Well, here I have a
was-
proposal for you guys. So, I think it's in Fallout 3, yeah. So the color's very not monotone, but it's very dreary. It's very brown and green and stuff.
Nothing pops in that game.
But listen to this. The spoilers when you go into the town when you're a child. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
That was like, I don't remember. It's like sepia.
Paradise
Sepia?
Flame.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has a filter
That's
on
the same thing. It's monotone. There's only two colors. It's like yellow and orange or whatever, and white. So you get that filter, but that's a color palette. That's a choice. That's something that was brought to me. That's brought to make a mood of, a lot of ambient and a lot of nostalgia and a lot of history in that. Whereas though you may not consider it a color palette, it's a restriction of color palette which has a purpose. The same way a lot of games just go full out with colors. For instance, Cameo is a big one. The original, release for the 360. The inclusion of color and the lack of color, are both part of the color palette.
I don't know. To me, it's like saying, all right, you have a selection of cards, 52 cards. Now we're going to take away 48 of them. Is that really, or I'm sorry, 50 of them? Is that really a color palette if you only have two?
Well, zero is
Yeah.
a number.
Yeah. It's a color
Zero's
palette. You just only have two colors in the palette.
Yeah.
Well, if zero's a number, well, then you don't have any colors at all if you have zero.
But no, listen. You see in your
What would that
day-to-day
be?
life, you see a vivid. Listen in your day-to-day life, you see a vivid amount of colors. You see hundreds and hundreds of different shades, right? And
Yeah.
by taking those colors away from you, they extract that emotion. And that's the point. Zero is a number because it represents the lack of anything. The same way Limbo and the same way Metro 2033 lack colors because they mean something.
The lack of color is representative of something. is what you're
It's
saying.
artistic and stylistic.
Anyways, I think if you disagree, say it now, but I think we should move on topics because we spent a lot of time.
Yeah, we
No,
were
wait,
getting really abstract there.
If we're going back to what I originally said when I'm saying we're establishing a mood with color palettes, I would say that I'm already agreeing with you for most games. I'm just kind of up in the air about Limbo, but
That's cool.
that's about it.
Understandable.
Sweet. So another topic we talked about, as you said in the pre-show, is the role of companions in games. So,
Hey,
just you mentioned
listen.
Left 4 Dead.
Listen.
And
Hey. I'm sorry, Robert.
What?
what'd you say? I'm really confused.
Just continue, Robert.
That was a smart reference, my friend.
Please play Zelda. How do you know that?
Robert, you were in that video when we talked about that.
My God.
Guys,
Anyways, so
Sorry.
the new Bioshock Infinite represents, or that's a dumb word. It relies heavily on this new companion, Elizabeth. And if the majority of players rather, can't connect with this new character, it's going to be a real miss. The same way, if people get annoyed with the little girl in The Last of Us, that game's going to be a real miss as well. So, my question to you, gentlemen, is: what games have companions really, really well, and what games just do them poorly? And
Mass Effect, great example.
yeah, and
Oh my god.
I wanna talk about Metro a little bit, and then we can go on to Mass Effect again. But Metro 2033 has a ton of companions, right? Sometimes it gets kind of annoying because they die, it's your fault. But
yeah,
the fact,
you can kill like any one of them at any point randomly.
yeah. But the fact that you switch companions so much, like the same way you do in Half-Life 2, and like the same way you shift through cast of characters. The fact that they're all very alive, and the fact that they can all be very, very dead, and the fact that they'll communicate that they're dead, and they talk to you, and you buy stuff with them. I think it just really, I don't know, but like I think companions were really, really well done in Metro, because they let you do your thing, and they'll be like, all right, we're not going to hold your hand through this really interesting library and this just a lot of game history here. So we're just going to let you, explore yourself. And
well, I would say because it's based on a book, the game Metro, because it has this book-based origins where something's going to happen. This character is going to die at this point. You're allowed to have this openness of as long as the developers get you to that point in the book, as long as you stick roughly to what occurred, you can do whatever the hell you want. And if a character dies earlier than they're supposed to in the book, but they still die before X point,
Yeah.
it's fine, totally fine.
Just as long as it
I mean,
works
it's
in
just like
continuity.
yeah. I mean, you have like different soldiers that join you in Half-Life, right? At some point.
Yeah. Like you talk to
I mean-
Alex Vance a lot, and then you go to
Uh-huh.
like different outposts and stuff.
And they can just die randomly, right? So it
Oh, Alex can't.
Alex can't, yeah, but
But
I
like
mean,
the soldiers you're with can.
the soldiers with can and like something similar happened.
But are they companions? That's my question. I don't think the random soldiers are
They're
companions.
partial
No.
companions.
I mean,
they're there for.
I don't know. They're more or
temporary
less just
companions.
teammates. Like, if you were to go into a multiplayer game, you wouldn't call your teammates companions. Like, those guys are just teammates. I mean, I know there's a player backing it, but it's in the same sense that they don't all have their own unique identity. They're just those people with this. You can find that same, like, the same file for that character. You can find multiples in the same mission.
Mhm.
It's like, they're not different. They're just the same thing. They're just meant to act as a kind of support role, so to say. I don't say that they're companions. I'd say they're more teammates.
If you guys remember, we were talking about Call of Duty 2 a little while ago. When you're playing a single player in that, I think in a lot of the Call of Duties now, if you look at a character
They all have
in
different
a
names.
single player game, they all have little names, yeah.
Yeah.
And that can make you think, well, for me personally, because I'm a sucker, I've looked at sometimes in like, way back in the Call of Duty 2 days when you're storming Normandy, and there'll be, Private Jones and Corporal Smith, and one of them dies climbing up the cliff, and for me, I'm like, I just stormed the beach with that guy, and then he got shot through the forehead.
and now he's dead.
Yeah.
I love that so much. Like that admittedly is something that Call of Duty has done pretty well. Is it makes you realize, oh shit, these are actually people. These aren't just dudes with guns.
Yeah.
These are actual people that have just suddenly died.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was
And
that was for me in Black Ops 2 because I haven't played a campaign Call of Duty like since like the second Call of Duty. I played through the campaign on Black Ops 2 just like in the last couple weeks, and like you have the I would call them companions for sure. Like I can't remember the names. I'm really bad at this, but like the guys that are with you like throughout the thing, and they can you can play one mission where either there's two companions and you can kind of choose between which one dies, and that affects the
Yeah,
rest
yeah.
of the campaign for that that particular what do you call it, save file or whatever you want to call it, and you can go back and kill off the other guy and then it'll change it a certain way. So I thought that was
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
cool.
I think I really like. I genuinely think that campaign, particularly the Black Ops 2, is probably one of the better game campaigns of 2012 in general, because it's open and you can win, but at the same time you can lose
Yeah.
really hard in the end. Like, big characters will still die no matter what you do, and you can't save everyone, and that is just nuts to think about. And
It's a nice thing to add in. They did that with Mass Effect also. There are characters like
I
Mordin.
knew. I was waiting for that.
Like-
I was
well,
waiting.
I brought
for
it up,
Yeah.
but before we go on to that, in Call of Duty 2, I think maybe like Call of Duty 1, there's a character called Captain Price.
Yep.
And then in the Modern Warfare series,
Okay,
there's Captain
that-
Price, and it's speculated that
Yeah, I
those
was
two
about to
are
say.
related.
Mhm.
So that's just kind of cool. But yeah, Mass Effect and Companions. I mean, probably
Yeah.
the best modern example of.
I'm
a s-
going the opposite direction.
You
with
always
on
go
this.
the opposite direction.
I do. I tend to. But
fucking
continue,
ass midget.
Michael. Wow.
The
okay,
thing
you don't
is
have to
that-
get immature.
From Mass Effect 1, you have the array of five, because one of your friends will die, maybe 4 depending on the choices you make, and then you have people like Joker, and Dr. Chakwas, and you have these characters which you start developing in Mass Effect 1, and then you finally reach a zenith in Mass Effect 3, where you see all these people, and you finally reach this final conclusion where you've grown with these characters, and you see these characters, you know their personality traits, and infamous quotes come back to bite you in the ass or help you again. And especially in Mass Effect 2, like I've stated before that I didn't shed a tear when Tally's face was revealed to not be anything special, but helping her helping her through the trials that she had to go through with the flotilla and the death of her father. Fucking spoiler for that 3-year-old game. And doing all of that, god damn, that was impactful. And then God, when I talk about a Zenith, Mass Effect 3, you can decide to kill every single Quarian in the galaxy. You just go, yeah, I like the Geth better, screw them, and the Quarians will all die. And she commits suicide, and that is just impactful as all get out.
Spoilers.
And that's the choice I made. Because I don't know.
Because you
I like
disagreed
the
with
better.
the Quarians.
No, it's just I did like the Geth a little better than the Quarians. I can understand what the Quarians were doing, but in all honesty, I viewed them as the bad guys, not the Geth. So.
I kept them both alive, so I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I did too.
Oh well, I didn't. I was like.
I don't like losing squad mates. I fucking hate that.
I understand. Yeah, I mean, okay. Here's my opinion on the Mass Effect. The Mass Effect people. I honestly think in combat they're useless in my eyes because, to be honest, I'm doing all the fucking killing when I'm playing my games.
For powers,
and I mean,
they're
I'm not
great.
saying that from Call of Duty. I'm not saying that from any other games. I'm saying in that game, I've noticed my companions do very little. The only thing they can bring to the table are like team powers and
played on
an
Insanity?
occasional. What?
Have you played on Insanity?
No, not really. But
Okay, play it on Insanity. You will love your companions at every single second. Until you start getting knocked down over and over again. Then you just freaking hate them.
yeah,
I tried
I don't know.
Insanity
I
Mass
viewed
Effect
that.
2, and I wanted to strangle myself to death.
God damn, when you're inside the collector base, Jesus Christ.
I didn't even get that far. I got to Horizon, and I'm like, nope, fuck this, kill me.
No, I got through it on Insanity. I'm proud to say I got through that game and Mass Effect 3 on Insanity. Holy shit.
I want to make a
God
point though,
damn.
right quick. I want to say that if it's the one thing I hate about the Mass Effect series, it's that the entire campaign revolves around your companions, and the entire reason you have your companions, it has a reason for it in the story. It's just, in my eyes, when I'm playing it, it's like, I'm trying to save the universe, and for the love of me, your mild problems and past problems don't bother me that much.
That did always
I have
get to
bigger
me,
things
too.
on my mind.
Can
Yeah,
you cite an example where that comes up?
Actually, I can. Mass Effect 2, when I had to go deal with Jax and the Cerberus base that she was taken to, I don't have time to deal with that. I'm trying to save the world here. I'm trying to find the Reapers and destroy them and figure everything out.
I really like that part.
I mean, yeah, that was actually a really good part.
So you're willing to compromise your entire team, potentially this biotic that you end up needing to use, either her or Samara or
all right,
Morinth,
here.
to make the walk of bridges, the walk across the beams.
Hold on.
You're willing to sacrifice her mental sanity when she was tortured as a child. You're willing to just go on because I'm trying to find the Reapers. Well, I understand the gravity of the situation, but goddamn, this is someone who has a lifelong
You're making me facepalm,
hatred.
Michael. You're making me facepalm because look at this. Would you rather save one person or the fucking world? That's the question.
You have enough time to save the fucking world. You can go out of your way for a 2-hour mission.
Have you seen those collectors and what they've been doing? Because the last time I checked, the only reason those collectors haven't been attacking everyone like they should be doing is because the developers didn't want you to, or didn't want that to happen.
And that's
the developers wanted you to go and do this side mission, and to be honest, it takes me out of it every fucking time I have to go do them because I'm over here like these collectors are attacking. The collectors are taking more than one person every time they go in there. They're destroying entire colonies. How is the importance of one person gonna make this really matter that much? And then yes, you could say that doing this had to have an effect for the end mission, but that's just going meta about it. Because you're just looking at it from what the result of that will be, not from what you're currently doing. If you were in Commander Shepard's mission and I told you, dude, I have to go home and see my mom, he would have been like, what the fuck are you talking about? Because
you're
that
just
is
going
not
home to see
something
your
you
fucking
need
mom.
to do.
This is someone's mental sanity. Also, like you said, it's how the game's designed. Until you see the game where if you do one thing, you can mess on something else on that scope and that scale, then you can gripe about it. But you have
No
time
one
to do
here
it with
has.
Jax.
On a much less angry note, it does do the same thing to me when it's something like Mass Effect 3 when billions of people are dying. And it's like, hey, let's change the furniture in my apartment with the new DLC. That's when it gets me. That's about it.
Well, side note,
Mm.
we're getting into some moral questions here, and I think we should switch topics.
Very true, because yeah.
There's some
That's
vinegar
very true.
going on here.
I have the unpopular opinion, like I said.
Uh-huh. All right, so I think this should be our last topic of tonight, and we gotten kind of in depth about this beforehand, but now we can actually get into length with it, and how multiplayer maps interface back and forth with gameplay, and how maps are laid out, and how gameplay is laid out. And Jesse once again had the unpopular opinion, if I
Yep.
recall correctly.
Yep.
So
You'd
I
recall
rem-
incorrectly according to Jesse.
What? No, I do
Ayo.
have the unpopular opinion.
Ayo, that was a joke.
Oh, okay. I see. All right. Well, I want to state my. Wait, no. First, let's hear the popular opinion. Then I'll state my opinion.
Alright, so the popular opinion was that core gameplay is what drives the maps to do what they do, and maps can drive, gameplay experience, but mostly the gameplay mechanics really focus more, like, gameplay mechanics influence the maps more than the maps influence gameplay mechanics.
it's
I'm over
specifically
here
multiplayer
saying-
we're talking about.
Yeah, specifically multiplayer. I'm gonna agree to that. That's specifically that. But my opinion is that it could go either way. And I'm gonna bring up Far Cry 3 because it proves it well. Far Cry 3 has you can make any kind of map. You can make it close combat. You can make it far away. You can make them on battling ships and doing all sorts of stuff like that. And it works regardless of what map you're playing on. It doesn't matter if it's an open field or if it's in a small cramped corridor. You're still going to be using the same game mechanics regardless. So you might as well just... I honestly say that the maps, for the most part, don't really... well, I'd say that the maps... The maps only influence the kind of game or kind of style that you play it. I don't know if I would go so far as to say is that the game mechanics are what drives the maps, because the game mechanics don't in Far Cry 3, and that game, in my eyes, is good. It's really, really good, and I love it. And it worked even in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. If we looked at a map, I believe it was called Wasteland. It was a big open map, heavy snipers, and there's a big trench in the middle. And...
Yep.
Yeah, and in that map, that was the only map I think I've ever really seen where I had a big open area, and I loved playing it because it was a change of pace. Now I never see those maps. In fact, that's the entire reason I don't play Modern Warfare 3. Those maps suck balls, and I stay away from it with a passion. So I'm honestly going to say that maps have a bigger influence than the game mechanics do.
Well, if you're gonna say that, then the map defines how gameplay executes.
Yes.
They don't define all parts of gameplay. They define how the map executes. Now, I brought this up on a thread a couple days ago. The difference is, in a game like Call of Duty or Far Cry, the game mode can change how gameplay works. If you're looking at in Call of Duty Search and Destroy, where everyone has one life, you're playing delicately. You're finding a lot of good hiding spots. People tend to stay back, not be aggressive, and as a result, the gameplay changes. But that's because of the game mode. In Capture the Flag, you're trying to balance attack and defense so that you can effectively guard your flag while at the same time recovering the enemy's flag.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you look at something like Team Fortress, where every single map is designed around one game mode, then your case is a lot more prevalent, because in a payload map, you're looking for places where where's the engineer set up his turret, where is the sniper stand, when does the medic pop his Uber? How does the scout best hop around to get the intel? And as a result, the levels have been designed specifically for those things. Anytime this is a great sniping spot, I almost guarantee you that a designer sat there and went, that's going to be a great sniping spot.
Yeah.
Someone just has to find it.
Well, as someone who's made maps, either in Source or in, the Halo map editor, you don't make a map and you go, well, you have a game type in mind for that map. You have core game mechanics. For instance, like we were talking, you said, different game types. Well, nobody goes, you never see a really, a big map, when they multi-purpose it for 5 different game types. Well, you never see either of those game types doing particularly well. Like, if it's well balanced, they can do well. But, like, Battlefield maps where, I can't think of any in particular, where they're just like, yeah, it's a really big map, we have vehicles on either side. Play like one specific map type on
Yeah,
it.
there are some Battlefield maps
doesn't work at
that
all.
work great for Rush, and they suck ass for Conquest, or
Oh,
vice
totally.
versa.
Well, that's because
They
changed the objectives around. Like in fucking Operation Metro, no one fucking plays Rush. Everyone plays Conquest.
I play Rush on that.
So I mean, but they're
Yeah,
entirely
Rush is
different
awesome.
maps.
On Metro? Shit, yeah.
64-person Rush is incredible.
24 is my max because I'm on Xbox, so.
Yeah,
I know that
some of
feeling.
us are consoles.
But like,
Yeah.
think about it. You don't create a map. You don't create a map and then go, well, what can I do with this?
I do sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
Unless,
lie.
like I
You're
said,
not
in Team Fortress, the map is created for a game
Yeah.
mode, and as a result, it doesn't. As a result, the game doesn't change mechanically. The game only changes as a result of what the game type is.
You don't see any long range, like super big Counter-Strike maps because that's not how the game type works. You don't see any super well corridor shooters in Battlefield because,
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, but you don't.
It's Aftermath
No, that would be close quarters, but
or close quarters. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh,
they don't do as well as the game where core mechanics are corridor shooters and accuracy. The Frostbite 2 engine is a lot looser when it comes to that kind of thing. So
fair enough.
they
I'm
don't-
looking at it from
they
a different perspective.
They don't
though.
do as well. So, yeah, I mean, there's some people who are like, yeah, I made a map. It's pretty big. It's on a boat. Let's do cool stuff
It's
with
on a
it.
boat.
They go like, well, let's make a map for this game type.
And to be fair, I do the same thing whenever I was designing it for Halo. But usually, if I was going to go into a Far Cry 3 editor, and I would have no idea what I wanted to do, I would just be like, all right, well, what can I build? Then I take that and I go, what is most effective, and how can I go about doing this right, so that way it's fair for all people. Then eventually, when I'm building my maps, I break it down in reverse. I start going, all right, well, I can have spawn points here, I can
That's
do this
actually
here, I can
mostly
do
what
this
I do
here, I
in
can do this
Halo.
here.
Is I just look at it and I think, well, fuck it, what can I do? What can I do with what the parts I have?
Yeah.
And then I decide I can't
I
do
think,
anything.
honestly,
and I
we're
find
both
out
right
people
about
who
this,
can do
like-
amazing things with it. And I feel
We are.
uninspired.
we're all
Floating
right.
bridge?
It's just Jesse, you're looking at it in a weird sort of way,
Yeah.
and I don't like how you're looking at it.
Oh, no.
yeah.
I'm looking at you with shifty eyes and going. The thing is that I'm working with the Unreal 3 engine right now, UDK, and I created a deathmatch map that's very open. As a result, there are a lot of jump pads to get from place to place. There's a lot of teleporters. This is based with Unreal Tournament 3, and because I designed the level for deathmatch, when I was also asked to put in vehicles, I was like, oh, let's just throw in a Manta real quick. As a result, the Manta doesn't work well. Now, this is Team Deathmatch, and typically there aren't vehicles in Team Deathmatch, so that happens. But now I'm working on a Capture the Flag map, which is about vehicles, or in some cases. But I still made it so that the game is about jumping. I made it so that where the player spawns in their base, they have to get to their enemy base, then get to a flag base, it's separate, then go back to their base, then go to their flag zone. So I made it so that the player has to move constantly, which works well with Unreal Tournament's design because there's the hoverboard.
Yeah, it's a
and,
quick game.
It works well with vehicles. Well, I mean, Unreal Tournament 3 wasn't as fast as like Unreal Tournament 2004, because goddamn, it's a good game. There are a lot of good maps in that game too. Oh, DM ranking.
Well, I think Jesse's just looking at it from a different perspective, because no developer that wants to make a successful map is like, let's just fuck around until we get something we like. All incredibly successful maps were made with a purpose. You don't have Halo. Well, Halo is kind of different, and so is Far Cry 3, which I think is where you're getting your opinion from, is because the combat is solid enough and the environments are large enough that, they can blend well. But if you look at games with much tighter mechanics, you see like Counter-Strike or Tribes Ascend and stuff, where gameplay is very focused on one thing. You wouldn't make a
Twitches?
You wouldn't make a corridor shooter. Well, no, Counter-Strike isn't exactly a Twitch shooter, but you don't make a corridor shooter with Tribes Ascend and you don't make battlefield maps with Halo because they don't work.
There are some
Because-
maps though that you can make that just came out of nowhere. That they might be really goofy and they might only work for like one thing, but they came up organically, and that happens all the time.
Thinking
with
about
Halo.
Tribes Ascend I'm thinking about Tribes Ascend in terms of Blood Gulch. Oh my god, you think that make those hills a lot better?
Oh,
Stretch it
that'd
out
be
a little
cool.
bit?
It'd be like
Oh,
it'd
that'd
be
be
like
fun.
playing on Blood Gulch with like 200% speed and unlimited jetpack all the time. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, but the weapons would be
Tribes Ascend,
way
they
too
have
easy.
projectiles and stuff, so
Yeah.
it's like
which work well once you get used to it. It's a lot more fun. I
So
think.
that's why I say you just have to stretch the map out.
yeah,
make
so
it
it'd be
bigger.
like 200% speed, unlimited jetpack, and all rockets or something like that.
Yeah,
All
all
railguns,
railguns. Railguns work a lot better in terms of tribes.
yeah. Anyways, we're
And
coming
saws.
to a closing here, actually. So, final words, gentlemen.
Do you think?
I look at things differently.
Good to know. That's always
What were you
necessary
gonna
in
say?
gaming. Someone looks at it differently always brings different different
I was
opinion.
gonna say, do you think a chimp could be a tiger in a fight?
Absolutely
No.
not.
No.
No.
Yeah, see?
No.
I'm not saying would it. I'm not saying would a chimp win
Like,
a fight.
how old is the
I'm
chimp?
saying would
How old is the tiger?
Well, no, tiger's
they're both adult males.
Gorillas and adult chimps are incredibly territorial and incredibly violent.
Yeah, chimps are vicious motherfuckers.
But it's just like tiger
10
takedown.
times
Yeah,
as
but-
strong
Done.
as a heavyweight boxing champ, fellas. And they've been known to
Tight.
use spears. Okay, just keep that in mind.
We've been having the same
Also-
argument since 9th grade, so...
Also, mammals. Well, not mammals, because those are mammals. All those are mammals.
Yeah.
But bipedal, bipedal mammals are a lot more aggressive, and they tend to be a lot smarter. For
That's what I'm
instance,
saying.
in small groups, or in a small group rather, if there's any conflict with like the alpha male or the alpha chimp or whatever, hoarding beta female chimps rather,
He's hoarding
the
Yeah, they do that.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
they will band up and they will bite and just destroy the shit out of the alpha chimp. It just
They're
murder.
like Mormons. Misogyny.
All I'm saying.
All I'm saying is chimps would beat the shit
Tiger
out of the
takedown.
tiger.
The things that
There's no
Tiger
There's no
takedown.
tiger takedown when a chimp is like 600 pounds and incredibly
Roberto
strong.
has just found the first
What
person
chimp is
ever
600
that has ever
pounds?
agreed
A
with
fat
him on
chimp.
this.
Okay,
Exactly.
The thing is, like, everyone thinks of the question of like, would a chimp win the fight? That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, the chimp would have a lot better chance than people seem to think of it. The chimps are fucking vicious. Like, they don't just kill you. They kill you and like bite everything off. Everything.
Yeah,
Everything.
they're
We should make a
fury.
game out of
Also,
this.
You,
Yes.
you have leverage and long arms.
Yeah. And they're
You ha-
All I'm saying is a strike to the jugular. Bam.
but how,
Chimps don't have that kind of ability. Tigers would
yes,
just go-
Yes,
don't.
they do.
Jugular.
Lo-
Well-
lots of primates have very strong jaws, and they tend to bite.
Okay, all I'm saying is tiger takedown, swipe at jugular, it's dead.
The thing though is
Simple
like,
as that.
if the tiger went for the jugular, which it wouldn't because it's a fucking tiger, and tigers don't know where the jugular is.
Are we really having this conversation on a gaming podcast?
Yeah, as
The
a
thing, though,
closing
is,
statement. As a
the
closing
chimp would
statement.
put out its arm, and it would grab the arm, and then the chimp would continue to beat the shit out of the tiger because it's a fucking chimp.
Why the fuck would the tiger grab the arm?
Because the chimp put its arm there, so it didn't grab its fucking
see, the
jugular.
chimp knows to
Why
go
would
for
it
the
do?
eyes.
Oh wait, you mean like over
The
its
chimp would,
neck?
like,
Yeah, it would be like.
pull its
Why the
eyes
fuck
out.
would a chimp do that?
Chimp-
Do you see
gouge
any
eyes out.
person who gets attacked as a primal instinct to cover their, their face and their head and their neck?
No, because you're usually focused on attacking them, so you don't get your ass kicked.
Right, and the chimp
Well,
knows
you
to
also use
gouge
defense.
eyes out. It's gonna gouge that motherfucking tiger's eyes out, and it's over. Over.
Yeah, that's true.
I still say the Tigers win in
I
this
mean,
one. Unpopular
no,
vote
I mean
for
the tiger
win.
does have like 400 pounds. I mean, there's that. You know, to consider.
It does have a lot better one-shot potential.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
if it gets a good swipe at the chimp and it like knocks it down, then the tiger's going to town on that KO'd monkey.
I don't know. We're not using actual science here, so this isn't going
Well,
anywhere.
our biology teacher said the tiger.
It's
would
like
win.
Deadliest Warriors.
Our biology teacher said the tiger. Would
Yeah,
win.
we finally asked him after 3 years of debating in 12th grade.
You said the tiger
Yeah,
won?
we finally got a concrete answer.
What about versus a gorilla? Because a gorilla would tear the shit out of the...
Gorilla would fuck that tiger up.
But wait.
Have you ever seen King
What about
Kong?
in Tarzan?
That
Okay,
guy
are we
fucks up a
serious?
Tyrannosaurus
What about
Rex.
Tarzan? 'Cause
Tiger
Kojak is a
versus
big-ass
King
fucking
Kong.
gorilla, and he
Are we
can take that
serious?
leopard out.
Tarzan doesn't live. Tarzan would get raped. Anyways, can we end this?
Yeah, we can.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to Midnight Launch Podcast, Episode 6. Michael, Jack, Jesse, and Robert,
Very well.
joined by Roberto. Thank you very much for joining us, Rob.
No problem. Thank you.
You're welcome.
2.0.
You're welcome.
Spanish edition, Mexican edition, whatever floats your
Thanks for
boat.
having me, fellas.
Thank you for listening, and we'll be back next week.
All right, farewell.
Adios.
See you.
Toodles.